So do you enjoy the content here on Thoughtful Faith? If so, be sure to hit the notification bell. This ensures that our new videos show up on your feed. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook group called Thoughtful Saints, where myself and others discuss the sorts of topics found on this channel. And lastly, if you think other people would benefit from this video, please be sure to share it. Hey guys, so before we get into today's video, you might have noticed that I am a huge fan of Dr. Jordan Peterson. Peterson is a renowned psychologist who brings the language and perspective of psychology to exploring the ideas that have shaped our society, especially the ideas of the Judeo-Christian tradition.
What? Are you saying that no one is really an atheist deep down?
I didn't say no one was.
Okay.
I said that most of the people who claim to be atheists aren't. So this is why I like Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment.
He has tons of content on YouTube that any person of any faith or political persuasion should check out. If you want to start, I suggest looking for videos of him talking about God or about the Bible for a good taste of his unique and powerful perspective. But then we have to ask ourselves, is that truly the nature of the world? Is the world truly a nihilistic, there is no meaning, there is no purpose, there is just power and preference?
Yeah, that's why I generally say, like, any sort of idealism. I mentioned to you that there's been a couple people, one of them your brother I know, who try to claim Jordan Peterson's an atheist. And I say to them, no, they're a Platonist, they're a Neoplatonist, they're an idealist, which looks a whole lot, if you really break it down and get into all the details and all different streams of it, because there's been a million different streams of it, looks a whole lot like there's a God up at the top. That's a one. That's the thing up at the beginning of the thing. And people like Jordan, all that stuff, you can kind of say it's like the philosophical scaffolding that's trying to examine the universe, and it ends up looking a whole lot like what you might call Christianity or religiosity. If you're coming from that,
I would say that traditional theism within kind of the Trinitarian notions of God are basically Platonism.
They are, and they borrowed, and they all got mixed in with Aquinas, and it got mixed in with the Jews with Maimonides. I can't ever say that guy's name. It got mixed in with Islam with Asiven. I can't say that guy's name ever either. And surprise, surprise, it's mixed in with all of your leftist philosophy too. It all came from it as well. All idealism, German idealism, all idealism is using the same framework. And it's because it's trying to say there's something on that universe that looks ordered. It looks predetermined, not predetermined in the Sam Harris predeterminism, because that stuff drives me nuts. But it looks like there was an order or some sort of hierarchy or pyramid to how to understand the world. And you could call it Peterson, who's using that philosophical frame, which you can say the four horsemen of what they call the four horsemen. Meaning John Vervaeke's a guy who's trying to take the mysticism out of that, but who knows how well he does it that too, because it still becomes mystical. But Peterson's a guy who's looking at that framework, and he's negotiating or still playing the game, or saying, like, there's something there. I'm trying to figure out which one is the one that makes most sense with me.
And Jordan just sounds more and more and more like a Catholic theologian almost as time goes on, because that is sort of where that sort of thinking has been done for centuries now. And it is one of the things that I think that bugs me about those who would say, Jordan Peterson is an atheist, is because the way that they define God, the Sam Harris types, the people like my brother, like, if we're going to define God on the terms of the Trinitarian kind of what I call hellenized,
you got frozen right at define.
Oh, okay. But if we're going to define God along the same lines as the Trinitarian Christians, remember, you're talking about a spaceless, timeless, immutable, prime mover, genderless, three persons in one. It is such a incomprehensible load of woo woo, for lack of a better term, that it is, Plato, it sounds like Plato. Plato is very much this sort of idea of the forms, and this sort of,
It sounds a lot like Islam too. If you ever get far into Islam, the Sikhs. That's how the Sikhs view stuff. It's even just if you get like the random people who declare themselves Gnostics or Hermetics or any sort of thing like that. But
see, I guess my point, just real quick, is that Jordan Peterson fits into that same mold.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the exact same mold. We actually, as Latter-day Saints, we're not. We break that mold big time. We are not idealists. We fall much more under what would almost be
realism. It's almost like this is happening in the real realm of realism.
Yeah, and they give us hell for that. And frankly, like, I think that's an interesting kind of debate to have. But the point here is that you have, like, God is a very fluid sort of concept. And so if you're going to say that anyone, if Jordan Peterson is an atheist, then Aquinas was an atheist.
Yeah.
All
of Islam is atheist.
Yeah. Because they're looking for a particular kind of object God in the universe, like a Mormon kind of version of a God. They're saying, well, if you don't believe in that particular God, then you're an atheist.
It's far more Platonist. They have this thing they hold up to, like, the one sign. I think it's called like Tawhid or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's actually the same thing that you described with that timeless. You can't draw Allah in Islam, not because it's just against the rules and they'll kill you or whatever. It's because you can't draw him. It's because it's that same sort of thing that just exists outside of all things and time and is everything and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and fair enough. People want to hold that sort of a worldview, but regardless, I think you make a great point there. If you're going to build any sort of a value structure at all, there has to be a hierarchy to the value structure, and that creates an ideal. It creates something that's going to be at the top of the pyramid that functionally, in an idealist system, whether that be Platonism or Catholicism, puts something at the top that is ultimately
as soon as you start saying shoulds and you think there's something good or beautiful or of good report that's supposed to be there, somewhere down at the bottom of the stuff that you're going to start latching onto is that same Platonism. It's part of all philosophy, and that's part of one of the things that most philosophers spend their time pointing out. You can look up, Rene Girard talks about that, or it's one of the main things Heidegger talked about and all. If you look